I'm Sam Paustian-Underdahl. I am co-founder of Jointly, and today I am going to tell you more about human resources technology. Just curious, how many of you are working in HR? Okay, less than half. All right, well, good. So this might be some new information for you all. Awesome. So I'm going to walk you through some innovations in this space, as well as the current size of the market. And then I'm going to tell you a bit more about HR tech in Jacksonville and more about my company, Jointly. Okay, so HR tech is a broad term that refers to the software and hardware technology that helps organizations automate essential HR functions. So since many of you aren't familiar with HR, aren't working in HR, it can help with automating filing, benefits administration, talent management, performance management, compensation management, and payroll, as well as talent acquisition. So as most areas of technology, the growth that we're seeing in HR tech is really driven by artificial intelligence, AI, as well as machine learning. You can see this graph on the left shows different HR functions that are using AI. It's most commonly being used currently in talent acquisition. So thinking about how are we recruiting, hiring, and onboarding talent and employees within companies, followed by employee training and development, which is what Jointly does, as well as people analytics. There's a lot of data out there, and figuring out how to use that data can be complicated, so there's lots of platforms now that can assist with that, followed by employee wellness, so a lot of apps out there helping improve employee well-being. So to tell you more about talent acquisition, again, this is the biggest area that we're seeing AI. Lots of cool apps and platforms. I'm just going to tell you about some of those today. One is there's lots of platforms that can help you write job descriptions. So no longer does a human being have to sit there and write out these lengthy job descriptions. There's lots of generative AI that can help you do that very quickly. And some people are worried about bias in hiring. There's even platforms out there that can review your job descriptions to make sure you're not using biased language, so you're not detracting certain groups of employees from being interested in your job. So biasinterrupters.org is a great resource for that. Apps and AI can also help with sourcing and screening applicants. So no longer does a human have to go through hundreds or thousands of applications just to figure out who's meeting the minimum requirements. AI can take care of that for you and save humans a lot of time so that they're spending more time with the candidates and actually talking to people who have those criteria needed for the job. There's also AI to assist with communications. So this really helps streamline the applicant process so that as soon as they apply for a job, they automatically get an email from the company saying, thank you, here's the timeline, these are the next steps, and that process can continue on with the assistance of different HR technology. There's also platforms to help you analyze the success of recruiting campaigns. So companies spend a lot of money in the hiring and recruitment process. So you want to make sure what you're doing is working properly. AI can help you look at what's successful, what's not successful to help you save money there. And finally, there's AI and technology that can help forecast hiring needs. So it can be tricky figuring out the future hiring needs of the organization, and technology can assist with that as well. Lots of HR tech helps automate processes so that humans can spend more time doing the more difficult work that can't be automated. So things like timesheets, lots of paperwork, payroll, forms, etc., can now be handled with HR technology. There's also growing adoption of employee chatbots. Does anyone work in a company that has an employee chatbot? Yeah, I see a few hands. As a customer, I see chatbots all the time, right? I was just returning something to Home Depot and was chatting with some sort of robot who is helping me out. These are also seen internally in organizations. So this is really helpful for new employees who might have lots of questions about policies, procedures. Instead of taking up the time of an HR person to answer those questions, a lot of that can be codified. And so chatbots can help answer questions like that and save a lot of time and help those new employees figure out what's going on. All right, another growing area in HR technology is platforms to help boost employee engagement as well as training and development. And so there's lots of gamification happening here. Lots of companies are embracing technology to make learning more fun. When learning is fun, people tend to do more of it. Deloitte is a great example. So there's a Harvard Business Review article that talks more about what Deloitte is doing to turn learning into a game. You can see the VR headsets here. Lots of companies are using those for all sorts of training. So I was really familiar. I do leadership development, and I know that the virtual reality stuff can be useful. The military is using headsets to help with people's leadership skills. But also, hard skills can be taught using these VR headsets. So accounting, finance, all sorts of cool stuff like that. And so Deloitte has a great onboarding game that they have their new employees compete with one another and trivia to learn those policies that can be a little bit dry for new employees to learn. They've turned it into a game, and so that's made the onboarding learning process more enjoyable for their new employees. The wellness and health space is also really important in HR, and this is a growing area as well. This is actually the number 2 area behind training and development and onboarding and acquisition. So there's now apps and platforms that can help host virtual therapy sessions. And so a lot of mental health is kind of stigmatized, and people are worried about what it will look like if they're in therapy. Now it can be done in the privacy of your own home. There's virtual therapy sessions, employee assistance programs, and different apps and wearable apps that employees can use to help them manage their stress and anxiety. And then, of course, with all of this, employee data privacy is really important. And so companies are making sure that they're investing in HR systems that are very secure and have a lot of data privacy. All right, so quickly just wanted to show you what the market size is for HR technology. In 2022, it was valued at close to $24 billion. It's projected to grow to close to $40 billion by 2029. So that's a compound annual growth rate of 7.5%. And again, a lot of this growth is due to AI and machine learning. All right, so what's going on in Jacksonville? Joey mentioned a lot going on in Houston and that he had to knock on doors to find out what are the startups happening there. Similarly, I was searching on LinkedIn and had a few Zoom calls with folks here in Jacksonville to track down what are the startups in Jacksonville that are focused on HR technology. Now, not all of these are headquartered here, but they all do have a strong presence in Jacksonville. So I'll start on the left with talent acquisition or staffing technology. Temporary Assistance Guru, also called TAG, is headquartered here in Jacksonville, and this is software for staffing temporary employees. And the CEO of this company actually spoke last week at the Female Founders Forum. Were any of you guys there last week? Awesome. Yeah, I wanted to go, but it was sold out. Okay, and then Quickly Hire is software for hiring freelancers. Cloud Employee is software to hire tech developers, specifically tech developers who are outside of the United States. So it can be a little bit tricky when you're trying to outsource software development to folks outside of the US. This organization vets those people for you to make sure that you are finding software developers who have the skills that you're looking for. Moving to the middle here, we have payroll and HR software. So Paycor, of course, is a huge company with lots of locations. They do have a presence here in Jacksonville as well. And they have a system for HR, payroll, and timekeeping. We also have talent management tech based here in Jacksonville. So Beeline is a vendor management system or an extended workforce management system. And then Wired to Perform, this one is another one based here in Northeast Florida out of the Ponte Vedra area. This is software for talent management and analytics. And then finally, on the right-hand side, for learning and development is Jointly, and we have software that helps organizations improve the soft skills of employees and leaders. All right, so I'm going to tell you a little bit more about Jointly, just so you can see an example of what's going on in the HR tech space. I will say Jointly is headquartered in Charlotte, North Carolina. That's where my co-founder and our CEO lives. I'm based here in Jacksonville, and I'm really hoping to see more of the entrepreneurship ecosystem build up here because North Carolina has a lot going on. We have participated in multiple accelerators. They have organizations providing seed capital without taking equity. It's based on state funding and things like that. So I'm hoping we'll see more of that in Jacksonville. Okay, so the problem for our customers is that many employees lack soft skills. How many of you have worked with someone who doesn't have the best soft skills? Yeah, pretty much everyone, right? And actually, the number one reason why people leave their jobs is due to their manager. So we're all hoping to have managers with better soft skills, right? And so the lack of soft skills in organizations costs over $1 trillion annually due to employee stress, conflict, and turnover. Now, employers try to counteract these issues by paying nearly $350 billion annually on employee development programs to try to help them develop those soft skills. However, there are two major limitations to traditional corporate learning. One, most of this is one size fits all. So employees are sent to a seminar or a workshop where everyone's getting the same content. That could be helpful for some, but we know that everyone has different strengths and different areas that they could improve upon. So when you give everyone the same material, it's not super effective. The other major limitation is that this type of development tends to wear off pretty quickly over time. So there's decades of research on the forgetting curve, which shows that with traditional learning, about 90% of new information is forgotten within 1 week. So companies are spending all this money, and it's wearing off pretty quickly, not super effective. Let me walk you through an example of why traditional corporate learning isn't very effective for two managers here. We have Andre and Dan. They are technically skilled managers, and this is what we hear over and over from our customers, is that companies are promoting people for their technical skills, but not all of them have people leadership skills, right? And so in this situation, Andre's team is often confused because he fails to give them direct feedback. Dan's team feels like every conversation with him is a debate. And so this leads to conflict, stress, and turnover, very expensive problem. What most people don't realize is that the root cause of these types of people challenges is habits. And so what that means is that if Dan goes to a workshop on, let's say, active listening, it's not going to change his combative communication style because that behavior is a habit of his. So to change habitual behavior, a more targeted approach is needed, and that's what we've developed with Jointly's learning platform. So at Jointly, we help organizations improve the soft skills of their employees and leaders. Our personalization algorithms and proprietary behavior change technology generates targeted, sustained behavior change. The input to our algorithms is an assessment of 30 behaviors that are scientifically linked to workplace effectiveness. From there, our algorithms determine a personalized learning plan for each employee or leader that focuses on their specific needs. Remember, everyone has different needs and different things they could improve upon. And from there, they then engage in weekly behavioral practices. So we take the guesswork out of development because we have a huge library that we've created of behavioral exercises that map onto those different soft skills that are really important in the workplace. And after this weekly practice, this leads to sustained behavior change. So we're actually helping employees and managers learn new habits so that over long periods of time, they are more effective working with their teams. What does this look like from the learner experience? It starts with the assessment, which can be completed on a phone or computer. From there, they get a feedback report of their scores on these different dimensions of behavior. Our algorithms determine their strengths and their areas that they could improve upon. And then each week, they receive a list of behavioral exercises to their inbox. They click or tap which one of those they want to practice that week. They then practice it with their teams on the job. And then at the end of the week, they report their progress, and we share that learner engagement with the HR leader or whoever the buyer is for the company. This is what we're hearing from our learners. 94% are satisfied with Jointly's platform. 100% say that Jointly has improved their soft skills, their leadership, their work relationships, and their team performance. We're pretty excited about that. And learners like Jointly because it is tailored to them, so they see that they're getting really personalized development tailored to their growth opportunities. It's very easy to use, and it's a regular reminder of them of what they should be working on in order to improve those soft skills in the workplace. Okay, that is all that I have. Hopefully you now have a better sense of HR technology, what's happening in Jacksonville. I'd love to stay in touch, so this QR code takes you to my LinkedIn page, and thank you. Enjoy the rest of the day.